Have you ever noticed how some women seem to radiate a certain kind of beauty that's almost impossible to define? It's not the kind that comes from flawless makeup designer clothes or a bustling social life. It's something deeper, something more enduring. A quiet, undeniable glow that seems to shine from within. But what exactly is their secret? Is it a skincare routine? A closet full of the latest fashion trends? Or could it be something far more profound? Something that can't be bought or borrowed but must be cultivated from the inside out. Today, we're diving into the world of women who don't need to keep up with society's relentless demands for perfection. Women who choose to live simply prioritize inner peace and let go of superficial connections that drain their spirit. These women have discovered a beauty that isn't fleeting or dependent on what others think. It's a beauty that grows stronger with time. A beauty that comes from embracing authenticity, nurturing a rich inner world, and finding contentment in life's simplest moments. In this video, we'll explore the 3 defining traits of these remarkable women. The kind of traits that make them glow without ever needing to wear a drop of makeup or surround themselves with countless acquaintances. So if you're ready to uncover the timeless secrets of a radiant, fulfilling life, stay with us. What you learn today might just transform how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Let's get started. Inner richness and confidence. What makes a woman glow without makeup or crowded social circles? Where does real beauty come from? Is it hidden behind perfectly applied makeup? Or is it found in the latest designer clothes that promise to turn heads? Or maybe it's something deeper, something intangible, yet undeniably powerful. Renowned author Eleanor Barnes once said, "There are 3 kinds of beauty: the kind we wear on our faces, the kind we build in our minds, and the kind we cultivate in the way we live every day." This timeless wisdom reminds us that while physical beauty may catch the eye, true beauty touches the soul. It's the kind that stays with us long after the makeup fades and the clothes go out of style. Think about the women you've met in your life who radiate a sense of calm, a presence that seems to fill the room without saying a word. These women don't rely on flashy jewelry or flawless skin to make an impression. Instead, they've learned to embrace their authentic selves, imperfections, quirks, and all. They've discovered the kind of beauty that is unshakable because it's rooted in a deep, unwavering confidence. Take Grace Matthews, for example. Grace was a writer known for her captivating stories and warm, welcoming smile. She rarely wore makeup, and her wardrobe was as simple as her lifestyle, understated, timeless, and comfortable. Yet when she entered a room, people couldn't help but be drawn to her. What was Grace's secret? It wasn't in a jar of expensive cream or a new hairstyle. It was her ability to embrace herself fully. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every experience that had shaped her. Grace once said, "The most powerful thing a woman can do is learn how to make herself happy, no matter the circumstances." And she lived by those words every single day. Her happiness didn't come from what she wore or how she looked. It came from a heart that was content, a mind that was rich with life's lessons, and a spirit that refused to be defined by society's standards. Grace's beauty wasn't about looking young. It was about feeling alive, feeling connected to her purpose, and allowing her inner joy to shine through. Another inspiring example is Alice Turner, a beloved author who lived to the remarkable age of 100. Even in her later years, Alice would appear at public events with her silver hair loosely tied back, face free of makeup, but glowing with a natural, captivating charm. When someone once asked her why she didn't wear makeup, Alice smiled and said, "Makeup feels like a mask. It hides the real me. I want people to see me as I am, with all my years, experiences, and truths." Her words carried a powerful message, one that echoed through her writing and her life. Alice wasn't interested in pretending to be someone she wasn't. Instead, she chose to show up exactly as she was, with the lines on her face, the stories in her eyes, wisdom in her heart. Alice's authenticity was her greatest accessory, and the confidence she exuded came from knowing she had nothing to prove and no one to impress. Her life was a testament to the kind of beauty that is timeless, a beauty that comes from living honestly, speaking truthfully, and loving deeply. You see, the women who possess this inner richness and confidence are the ones who've learned that life is too precious to waste on trying to fit in or seeking approval. They've discovered that their worth doesn't hinge on a flawless complexion or a perfectly styled outfit. It comes from the richness of their inner world, the thoughts they think, the words they speak, and the way they choose to show up every single day. Imagine how freeing it would feel to let go of the pressure to look a certain way or meet someone else's expectations. Imagine the peace that comes from knowing that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to hide behind layers of makeup or the illusion of a perfect life. That is the secret to true beauty, a beauty that glows from within and only gets stronger with time. It's the beauty of a woman who has learned to love herself completely, who finds joy in the simple things, and who radiates a quiet, unshakable confidence that draws others in, not because of what she looks like, but because of who she is. In the next part of this video, we'll explore how these women protect their peace and distance themselves from unnecessary social relationships, choosing instead to live life on their own terms. Stay tuned. Distance from unnecessary social relationships. What makes a woman glow without makeup or crowded social circles? Have you ever taken a step back and asked yourself, why am I spending time with these people? Are they bringing warmth to my life? Or are they draining my energy? In a world that constantly tells us to network, connect, and stay socially active, it can feel almost rebellious to say, I'm choosing solitude. But for some women, this choice isn't about being lonely. It's about protecting their peace, guarding their energy, and living life on their own terms. When you think of women who radiate a calm, steady glow, the kind that doesn't need validation or applause, you're often looking at women who have learned the power of intentional relationships. They don't surround themselves with a crowd just to avoid feeling alone. Instead, they choose a handful of meaningful connections that truly nourish their spirit. Anne Harper was one of those women. Anne was a writer whose brilliance wasn't discovered until later in life. She spent decades pouring her heart into her work, not attending countless social events or chasing after superficial friendships. Anne once said, "The world belongs to those who claim it for themselves, not to those who seek permission from others." And that's exactly what she did. Anne and her husband had a simple life. He spent his days tending to his garden, while Anne sat by the window writing with a cup of tea in hand. They didn't need a constant flow of visitors or endless social engagements to feel fulfilled. Instead, they found joy in each other's presence. Two people who respected each other's need for space, quiet, and creativity. But when her husband passed away, Anne found herself at a crossroads. Should she start attending more social gatherings to fill the silence? Should she reconnect with old acquaintances to avoid feeling lonely? One afternoon, during a rare walk through the neighborhood, Anne bumped into an old friend. What started as a casual greeting quickly turned into a long, exhausting, one-sided conversation. The friend went on and on about her latest drama, her newest purchases, and her endless list of social plans. Barely got a word in. When she finally walked away, she muttered to herself, "That wasn't a walk. That was a press conference." That moment solidified something in Anne. She didn't need to fill her days with empty chatter or people who only wanted to hear their own voices. What she needed was time. Time to write. Time to think. Time to breathe. So she made a choice to step back from unnecessary connections and protect her peace. By the age of 92, Anne's first essay collection was published, and by 103, her collected works had left an enduring legacy. When asked how she managed to stay so focused and creatively alive, she simply said, "I learned to walk away from the noise so I could hear my own voice." Anne's story reminds us that solitude isn't a void. It's a canvas. It's a blank space where we can paint. Our dreams reflect on our lives and truly listen to our hearts without the distractions of the outside world. Marie Curie, the brilliant scientist, shared a similar perspective. When she and her husband were newly married, They owned just 2 chairs when a friend suggested they buy more for guests. Marie smiled and said, "If we have more chairs, people will visit, and we'll spend our time entertaining instead of working." For Marie, time was sacred. She wasn't interested in endless social gatherings or small talk. She was interested in her work, in discovering truths that could change the world. And that focus paid off, leading to groundbreaking scientific discoveries that continue to inspire generations. Now let's pause for a moment. Think about the relationships in your life. Are they bringing you closer to your goals, or are they pulling you away from them? Are they lifting you up, or are they weighing you down? There is a profound freedom in saying no to relationships that drain you. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about curating a life filled with intention. It's about creating a sanctuary within your heart, where your spirit can rest and your dreams can grow. Imagine waking up each day knowing that your time is yours, not spent pleasing others, but nurturing yourself. Imagine being able to choose your company wisely, surrounding yourself only with those who add meaning, depth, and warmth to your life. That's the kind of life Anne and Marie lived. A life of purpose, a life of focus, a life of meaning. And it's the kind of life you can create too, by being intentional with your connections and guarding your precious energy. You don't need a crowd to feel valuable. You don't need a packed social calendar to feel loved. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is the space to be alone, to hear your own thoughts, to pursue your passions, and to live a life that is deeply, unapologetically yours. In the next section of this video, we're going to explore the power of simplicity, how living simply with a rich heart can transform not only the way you look, but the way you feel deep down in your soul. Stay tuned. Living simply with a rich heart. What makes a woman glow without makeup or crowded social circles? Imagine waking up each morning to the gentle sound of birds singing outside your window. The air is crisp. The sun is softly filtering through the curtains, and the scent of freshly brewed tea drifts through the room. You sit down at a small wooden table, a simple breakfast laid out before you. A warm slice of toast, full of oatmeal, a handful of fresh berries. There are no distractions, no chaos, no urgent demands, pulling you in 1,000 directions, just a quiet moment to savor life's simplest pleasures. This is the kind of life that Eleanor Adams chose to live. Eleanor never had a grand house or a closet full of designer clothes. She didn't drive a luxury car or host extravagant parties. Instead, she lived in a small cottage that had been in her family for decades, a home filled with the scent of lavender and the sound of soft classical music playing in the background. Everything in Eleanor's life was intentional, from the wooden furniture that carried the charm of years gone by to the simple vases of fresh flowers she placed by the window every morning. She didn't decorate her home to impress anyone. She did it to create a space that felt warm, calm, and deeply comforting. A sanctuary from the noise and busyness of the outside world. Eleanor's wardrobe reflected the same philosophy of simplicity. While others in the neighborhood chased after the latest fashion trends, she wore soft, timeless cotton dresses that felt as comfortable as a warm embrace. Her clothes were always clean, neatly pressed, and thoughtfully chosen, not to attract attention, but to reflect the peaceful rhythm of her days. And while others spent hours applying makeup and fixing their hair, Eleanor let her silver hair flow naturally, her face bare except for a warm, gentle smile. You see, Eleanor understood something that many people never realize. That true richness isn't found in what we own, but in how we live. It's in the way we savor each cup of tea, the way we listen to the wind rustling through the trees, the way we watch the sun setting over the horizon with a grateful heart. She once told a neighbor, happiness isn't about having more. It's about needing less and noticing more. For Eleanor, living simply was not a matter of deprivation. It was a matter of choice. It was a way to focus on what truly mattered. The quiet moments spent painting by the window, the long walks in this garden with her beloved dog, the hours she spent writing letters to old friends. Her days were filled with small, beautiful rituals that brought her joy and peace. And in those quiet moments, Eleanor discovered the kind of richness that money could never buy. Richness of the heart, a contentment that radiated from within. But it wasn't just Eleanor. Think of women like Margaret Alcott, who once said, "A truly elegant woman doesn't flaunt what she owns. Beauty lies in how she lives." Margaret wasn't interested in showing off her wealth or status. Instead, she invested in experiences that nourished her soul, reading books that expanded her mind, taking long walks by the lake, and hosting simple, intimate dinners with close friends. Margaret taught those around her that life doesn't have to be loud to be fulfilling. Sometimes the greatest beauty is found in the quiet moments, in the way the sunlight dances through a window, in the way a cup of chamomile tea warms your hands on a chilly afternoon, in the way a simple conversation with a dear friend can fill your heart with warmth. Living simply doesn't mean giving up the things that make you happy. It means letting go of the things that don't. It means choosing quality over quantity, depth over superficiality, and meaning over materialism. Take a moment and look around your home. What truly brings you joy? Is it the latest gadget? Or is it that old, worn-out chair that holds memories of cozy afternoons, heartfelt conversations? Is it the fancy jewelry that sparkles in the drawer? Or is it the simple necklace your daughter gave you years ago? The one you wear every Sunday because it makes you feel close to her? Eleanor's life reminds us that happiness doesn't come from accumulating more. It comes from cherishing what we already have. It comes from slowing down, breathing deeply, and letting go of the need to keep up with everyone else. She once told her granddaughter, "I'd rather have a cup of tea in a chipped mug that holds my favorite memories than a $1,000 teacup that means nothing to me." Eleanor's simplicity was her richness, her calm demeanor, her unhurried pace, her contented smile. They all came from a life spent savoring the little things. While others chased after the next big thing, Eleanor found beauty in the present moment. Now think of your own life. Are you holding on to things that don't truly matter? Are you filling your days with busyness just to avoid the silence? Imagine what it would feel like to let go, to clear out the clutter, to focus on what brings you peace, to create space for what truly matters. Imagine waking up each day with a heart that feels light, a mind that feels calm, and a soul that feels deeply fulfilled. That is the kind of life that Eleanor chose, and that is the kind of life you can choose too. A life of simplicity, a life of meaning, a life of richness that comes not from what you own, but from how you live. In the next part of this video, we're going to dive into a deeply personal story, one that will touch your heart and remind you of the true meaning of love, trust, and forgiveness. Stay with us. Personal story. What makes a woman glow without makeup or crowded social circles? There are moments in life that change everything. Moments that crack us open, forcing us to see ourselves and those we love in a new light. For him, that moment came on a crisp autumn morning in Vermont. The air was cool, tinged with the scent of fallen leaves and freshly baked bread drifting from the local bakery, the kind of morning that made you feel like life was simple and safe. I had only been married for a week, still wrapped up in the quiet joy of being a newlywed. Everything felt new, untainted, and full of possibility. James and I had just moved into a small cottage by the lake, and I was trying to settle into our new life together. That morning, I decided to visit the farmer's market in town. It was a quaint little place with wooden stalls and friendly vendors who greeted you like old friends. I was reaching for a ripe tomato when a woman approached me. She was about my age, her hair tied back in a loose braid, her eyes soft, but searching. "You must be Sarah Bennett," she said, her voice warm, but with a hint of caution. "The new wife of James, right?" I smiled, a bit surprised. "Yes, that's me," I said, feeling a slight flutter of nervousness. She leaned in a little closer, her tone dropping to a gentle whisper. "You didn't know James has a 4-year-old daughter, did you?" The world seemed to freeze in that instant. Her words hung in the air like a heavy cloud, blocking out the sounds of the bustling market around me. My hands started to tremble, and before I knew it, the shopping bag I was holding slipped from my grasp. Tomatoes and carrots tumbled to the ground, but I couldn't move. "A daughter," How could James have a daughter? And how could he keep something so monumental from me? The woman must have seen the shock written all over my face, because her expression softened. "I'm so sorry," she said. Gently, "I didn't mean to upset you. I just thought you should know." Her words echoed in my mind as I walked away from the market, my heart pounding so loudly I could barely hear anything else. I couldn't make sense of it. James, the man I had just vowed to spend my life with, had a child, a little girl. And he never told me. I felt betrayed, blindsided, and utterly lost. As soon as I got home, I sat down at the kitchen table, staring at the empty chair across from me where James usually sat, sipping his morning coffee and chatting about our plans for the day. But today the house felt unbearably silent. I couldn't let it fester. I had to know the truth. Later that afternoon, I drove to James's Aunt Martha's house, the place where the woman at the market said Emily was living. The drive felt like a lifetime, each mile filled with questions and doubts that gnawed at my heart. When I finally pulled up to the house, Martha greeted me at the door, her smile kind but guarded. "Is Emily here?" I asked, my voice shaking. Martha hesitated, her eyes darting away. "She's in the living room," she said softly. I stepped inside, and there she was, a little girl sitting on the floor, threading colorful beads onto a string. She was small, with dark curls, and big brown eyes that looked so much like James's that it made my heart ache. When she looked up at me, she smiled. A shy, sweet smile that hit me like a tidal wave. This was Emily. This was James's daughter, and somehow she had been kept a secret from me. I turned to Martha, my voice trembling. "Is she James's daughter?" Martha's eyes fell to the floor. She whispered, "She's been living here ever since her mother left. James has been supporting her," but her voice trailed off. But she didn't need to say anything more. The truth was right there in front of me, in the little girl with the dark curls and the familiar eyes. I drove home in a daze, my mind spinning with 1,000 questions, and a heart that felt like it was breaking into pieces. When I walked through the door, James was sitting on the couch, his face lighting up when he saw me. But the moment he saw the look on my face, his smile vanished. "Why didn't you tell me?" I said, my voice breaking. "Why didn't you tell me about Emily?" James's face went pale. He swallowed hard, looking down at his hands. "I was afraid," he said, his voice cracking. "Afraid you wouldn't stay. Afraid you wouldn't love me if you knew." His words felt like a knife twisting in my heart. A child. James, a child isn't a secret you keep. A child is a life, a part of you. How could you hide that from me? Tears welled up in his eyes, and for a moment I almost felt sorry for him. But the pain of his betrayal was too raw, too deep. Without saying another word, I walked upstairs, and drove to my parents' house. For weeks I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think of anything but Emily's sweet, shy smile and the crushing realization that the man I had married was not the man I thought he was. But life has a way of bringing things full circle. Over the next 6 months, James tried to win back my trust. He visited my parents' house every weekend, enduring my mother's icy glares and my father's stern silence. He apologized over and over, each time with tears in his eyes, each time begging me to forgive him. Slowly, the walls around my heart began to crack. I still loved James, but could I ever trust him again? A year later, I gave birth to our daughter Lily. She was a light in our lives, her laughter filling the house with warmth. But even as I held her in my arms, I couldn't stop thinking about Emily. She was still living with Aunt Martha, still waiting for her father to step up and claim her as his own. One evening, as I was rocking Lily to sleep, I turned to James and said, "It's time to bring Emily home." James's eyes filled with tears, and without another word, he picked up the phone and called Martha. A few days later, Emily came home. She was shy, unsure, her little hands clutching a worn-out teddy bear. I knelt down to her level, my heart pounding. "You're safe now," I whispered, wrapping my arms around her small, fragile body. Emily hesitated for a moment, then burst into tears, clinging to me, as though she'd been waiting for that embrace her entire life. That night, as I tucked her into bed beside Lily, I realized that life would never be the same. It would be harder, messier, more complicated, but also more beautiful, more real, more honest. James and I had a long road ahead of us, a road filled with forgiveness, healing, and rebuilding. But as I watched Emily sleeping peacefully, her tiny hand resting on Lily's back, I knew one thing for certain: that love, even when it's tested, even when it's shaken, still has the power to heal. In the next part of this video, we'll wrap up with the powerful lessons that this story taught me. Lessons about love, trust, forgiveness, and what it truly means to live a life of substance and depth. Stay with us as we come to the end of this journey. I hope you're leaving with a deeper understanding of what true beauty really means. It's not found in layers of makeup or in the approval of others. It's not hidden in crowded rooms or in the latest fashion trends. It's found in the quiet strength of a woman who chooses to embrace her authenticity, no matter what the world says. It's in the confidence of a woman like Grace Matthews, who radiates warmth simply by being herself, imperfections and all. It's in the calm grace of Eleanor Adams, who finds richness not in things, but in moments. A warm cup of tea, a well-worn book, a peaceful afternoon spent painting by the window. And it's in the courage of a woman who dares to step back from the noise, to protect her peace, and to pour her energy into the things that truly matter: her passions, her loved ones, her own heart. Remember, true beauty is not about how you look, but how you feel. It's not about what you own, but how you live. It's about the light that shines from within, the light that grows stronger with every choice you make to live, simply love deeply, and embrace life just as it is. So what about you? How can you begin to cultivate that inner glow, the kind that doesn't fade no matter how many birthdays you celebrate? Maybe it's by letting go of superficial connections and embracing solitude. Maybe it's by cherishing the simple moments instead of chasing after the next big thing. Or maybe it's by allowing yourself to be fully unapologetically you. Flaws, scars, stories, and all. If this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your stories, or a lesson you're taking away from today's video. And if you found this content helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world, and it helps us continue to bring you content that inspires, uplifts, and reminds you of the beauty that's already within you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember, the most radiant glow comes not from what you put on your skin, but from what you hold in your heart. Stay beautiful in and out.